Hey, what is up, y'all? Welcome to the Top Flight Podcast. I'm your boy Hernan. I'm with my boy Brian in the stew. Melo is back from vacation. I don't know why you take a vacation when the home opener is here, but hey, you can slide in his DMs. We got Primo on the set. Primo, was good?
What's up, baby?
But most importantly, bro, we got our first guest, the Top Flight Podcast. We got Chris Bils in the building. How you doing, Chris?
I'm good, Hernan. Thanks for picking me up from the airport.
Yes.
Fresh out of Minnesota. Great week up there for me. Not a great week for Austin FC. So, but yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on and excited to talk a little bit about, you guys are throwing me back into some trauma here with the whole, Twitter wars, the great Twitter wars of 2017. It was, those were some weird times. I don't know how much you guys were following through all that stuff, but where you guys picked up the story. But I feel like it's always interesting to hear people like when they sort of started latching on, when they got involved in the conversation.
So for me, when I heard that Austin FC was announced, like the MLS to ATX, I wasn't really involved in the great Twitter wars. Thank God I wasn't involved in the great Twitter, because knowing me on how I am, I would have.
You would have been muted, and then
I would have been muted. Yeah, I would have been muted. And so we kind of hopped into the train. Well, for me personally, I'll speak for myself. I came into the picture probably like 2019. I first officially got involved with like La Murga, and what at that point in time was Austin Anthem, when it was just one group. February 2020 is when we went to Fourth Tap, and I officially became a Bombista player, I guess you can say. But, good thing I wasn't in those Twitter wars. But, Brian, I think you probably know a little bit more than me in those pre-days.
I mean, when I was keeping up with it, I was working at the Oracle campus on Riverside. And I was, like, literally ecstatic when I saw it. I was like, what? Before the logo was out or anything, I knew that there was rumors or, the talks about Columbus moving to Austin and all this and that. And I didn't really know the backstory of pre-court and all this stuff going on. All I cared about was there was a possibility of an MLS team coming here. That's all I knew, and that's all I cared about at the moment. I didn't really care about the background story. And I was telling like all my coworkers at work, like, hey, there could be an MLS team. And everybody was like, no, there's no way, man. There's no way.
Where are they going to put the stadium?
Yeah,
where are they going to put the stadium?
That's exactly what I got. It was like, where are they going to put the stadium? I was like, dude, it doesn't matter. Like, they can put it anywhere.
We're going to put it next to a discount tire, bro.
No one believed me at work.
I was like, up in Minnesota, I was like, we were driving to the stadium, and I was like, oh, there's discount tire, and then there's a Culver's. I was like, this is what you need for an MLS stadium site. You need a discount tire and a Culver's, and then you just shove it in there.
But to finish my point, like I got so much hate and denial.
Yeah.
Like, man, you're talking, you're talking out your ass. This is not gonna happen. There's no way, where we're gonna put the stadium. And then I met up with those same guys that I brought up like recently after not seeing them for so long. I'm like, look,
exactly.
I'm here. I'm at the stadium.
Literally at the stadium.
Literally at the stadium. All those years ago, where you told me that it wouldn't happen. This and that. And look what's happening. So
save those receipts.
Yeah. Save the receipts,
exactly.
Bro. And not only, I mean, you were at the home opener, but you say, I'm here at the stadium. When you say that, bro, you mean that, bro. You put blood, sweat, maybe tears at that job site.
Oh,
you were at the Austin FC job site in the heights of COVID.
Yeah.
That if that's like history in COVID and history in the part of the Austin FC stadium being built.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we shared the picture of your shirt that you got from your job.
Shout
and
out,
was like in 2020?
Yeah,
you got
2020. Yeah, 2020. Shout out Austin, the club, for handing out to all the construction guys.
They gave you hard hats?
Some hard hats, some snapbacks, some shirts, some Yeti cups, gift cards. They took care of us, man. They really did.
Hey, no cap, for the people listening, he got a crazy trade offer for that Austin FC construction dead stock shirt. I guess you could say it says Austin FC construction team 2020. And he got a crazy trade. So somebody out there, I think you know who, the person that got the Diego Fagundes shirt after the home opener.
No way.
Wants to trade for that Austin FC.
Guess what, bro? It's not gonna happen.
He said it's not gonna happen. I don't know.
Hey, I'll do it.
Go right here.
All those days trading Pokemon cards finally paying
Dude,
off. Huh?
I'm saving you, man.
I'll do it for 2 Bitcoin.
I mean, they're only like 29 right now, right, Melo? Can you bring up the price of Bitcoin real quick? I know that Ethereum took a dip earlier this week. So did Doge. But I think Bitcoin's holding at a steady 29. 34. So if you want Brian's dead stock.
Construction team.
Never will be released again. There's only like 50 out there, maybe even
and
made.
Mine's probably the only one that's not
That's
used.
still clean.
Yeah. Everybody else wore them the next day. They got them, and they're torn
They
up.
did wear it. You're right. You're right.
The guys with the hats, I just for some reason I was like, man, this means a lot to me because I'm a part of the team.
Good thing you saved it.
I want to save it.
So if you want it, 2 Bitcoins priced at $34,000 takes it.
Yeah.
But moving into what we came here to do, our first guest on the podcast, could have came in, for the home opener or whatever, but we decided to push it back a little bit because there was going to be a lot of stuff going on during that week, and there was a lot of content being around, and also our producer Mello decided to go
on
to
vacation,
Hollywood.
Man.
The guy wanted to go see Kylie Jenner. Apparently,
hey, to be fair, Mello had a hell of a time.
He had a hell of a time.
As far as his stories, you want to talk
can
about
you
it
tell
a
us
little bit?
briefly, real brief?
Bro, I went to San Diego, Santa Monica, Long Beach, LA, Universal Studios. We had a blast. Shout out to my homies. I spent so much money.
But
I don't want to count. Like, I don't want to check how much money I actually spent, bro.
He hasn't done damage
Hey,
control.
but you got to sell your ticket for the home opener? Did you sell it?
I did sell it, but it wasn't like crazy.
It didn't cover the...
No, it didn't cover the tattoo.
Do you want to say how much you listed it for at the beginning?
I listed it for 1,000.
Oh, my God.
man.
Oh, my God.
It's people like you.
Hey, man.
Hey,
You're up on that terrace, though, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that's the spot. Like, that is the best spot in the stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah, because shade.
Your tickets aren't just anything.
The view is incredible. I
Yeah.
have almost like, I'm towards the right a little bit, but almost centered. And when they sold it to me, they said they were called tele seats, like you're in the television, like you're watching from TV.
Oh, shit.
No, I don't know if you saw this, but like, it's the best seat in the house because the designer of the stadium, Jonathan Emmett, I ran into him at Circle when I was going to the USA match, and I was like talking to him about how he had to buy a ticket to get into his own stadium for the first U.S. soccer match. For the U.S. Women's National Team match, so he got a ticket up in the terrace. Yeah. So the stadium designer, he knows where the best spots at.
Yeah,
so.
and we knew like some people in the east section, bro. I feel bad for y'all because y'all gonna get the sun,
but
and it's bad.
To be fair, at the time that they're gonna get it, it ain't that bad, but it does make you sweat.
Plus, also, if I may add, man, you could. If I'm being honest, I've been all around it. Anywhere you sit, bro, it's just a badass view of the field.
For people that don't know,
you
pretty much built the fucking stadium. You
check my resume.
Check my resume.
Check my resume, bro. Check my resume. No,
he said, can I add that I built that domain? Can I, bro?
For those of you who are completely lost,
oh my God.
we're just quoting inside jokes off our interviews.
Daniel was his name.
Yeah.
So it was his birthday. And he went to go see Austin FC. I think he said he bought a ticket. He's probably with a group of people.
Yeah.
And he went outside to get something, I guess. And he said they didn't let him back inside. Yeah. So he was like outside on his birthday.
Yeah.
But whatever, dude. But okay.
But if you want to check it out, fan reactions on We Are Austin TV YouTube channel. So go check it out. It's hilarious.
But what we came here to do, a reason why we had the guests here for this game, for the Colombus Crew, preview, is because there's a lot going into this game. There's a lot at stake. Maybe for the people on the outside looking into this matchup, you might think like, you guys are making something out of nothing. But there is a lot that happened in the past 4 years. And I cannot think of somebody more knowledgeable on the subject than Chris Bils. Because you were originally from Ohio, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you were
Ohio.
Everything happened in like literally in your backyard, kind of like you were there, and then you moved to Austin, and you've been following this team, and now you're part of the Striker Texas, which is one if not the biggest coverage in Texas. I think you guys said that you would put money up, if like somebody wanted to challenge y'all's coverage on Texas soccer, y'all would get a good run for y'all's money, and I think that's probably true. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's been a crazy ride the last really 5 years since I moved here, because I moved here in 2016. Moved down to Austin without a job with my girlfriend, Lindsay, who I'm still with. And, I came down here. The only thing missing from Austin in my mind was, like, there's no soccer here. And, like, a year later, like there's no soccer here. I came down. I started like freelancing a bit with the Statesman, covering like high school football and stuff. And then like a year later, all of a sudden Anthony Precourt's trying to join me here in Austin. And I was like, what the hell? Like I was an intern with the Crew in 2013, right after Precourt bought Austin FC. I was there when they hired Greg Berhalter. I was there the first day he came into the office. I might have been one of the first people who talked to him when he came in, because I got there real early that morning, and he was just like going to the break room, and he like stopped me and asked who I was and what I did, and like like I always tell that story because it's like, to me, that was my first interaction with Greg Berhalter. He just seems like a really cool, like down to earth guy.
Bro, he got shoe game.
Yeah.
Oh my
Massive
God.
He came to Q2. He brought it.
He was at the home opener. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But so I was there in 2013 when they hired Greg Berhalter, and then I moved out to Missouri for a couple of years, and then, like I said, I moved down to Austin in 2016, and the rest is sort of history.
Yeah, the rest is history. But I want to get in depth on this kind of Columbus.
If you don't mind, kind of going through. You took some notes. And did a little research.
So
Go
today,
through the timeline.
Today I spent the morning to, I dedicated some time to something very important, some very important things that a lot of us should do. I spent the morning on YouTube researching Columbus and Austin FC stuff. Okay, shout out to my girl for supplying me with some badass Sammys and a coffee. Before she left to go get her nails done, and I had peace and quiet to do some research. But I wanna start off right here, Chris. October 16th, 2017, right? Mm-hmm. Colombus Crew announces a possible move to Austin. The tweet. Mm-hmm. Where were you at, and what was your first thoughts?
So that was a crazy week for me, because it was actually, if you remember, it was Formula One week, and I, like a week or two before Formula One, the sports editor for the Statesman came to me, and he's like, "Hey, do you know anything about Formula One? Would you want to cover it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know everything about Formula One." I'm like doing the same thing you're doing. I'm like Googling, like, who the hell are these people? Like, what is Formula One? And so that Monday, I went with Kevin Lytle. Shout out to Kevin, who was the OG kind of soccer writer for the Statesman. He was covering, the old Aztecs and stuff like that. But he also, his other beat was Formula One. And so he was sort of showing me around COTA, showing me around the track. And then, like, after like a long day of just talking to people out at COTA, getting to know the whole, place, I came home and I get a call probably around like 6 o'clock in the evening, and it's from Kevin Lytle, and he goes, like, do you still know anybody from the Columbus Crew? And I was like, I mean, I can call a couple people, like, what's going on? And he's like, well, I think they're trying to move to Austin. And I was like, what? And like the first thing that flashed in my head was Josh Pobetsky, because in, I think, sometime earlier in 2017, or maybe even like late 2016, I was at a U.S. national team. I forget if it was men's or women's, but I was at a watch party at Haymaker, and I was talking to Josh because he had his MLS in Austin stuff, and he was like trying to like pump up interest for MLS coming there. And I was talking to him like, how do you think it's going to happen? And like he's like, well, I'm pretty sure that the Columbus Crew want to move here. And I was like, that's not going to happen. I was like laying out all these reasons, like MLS fans will be pissed. Like there's so much history in Columbus. It's first ever stadium, and like all this stuff, and like all these reasons that, like, it's not like an I told you so thing, but I think a lot of those reasons that I was sort of laying out to him that night were like the reasons why it ended up kind of, that part of the story kind of ended up falling on its face, because, MLS fans did get up in an uproar, Crew fans did cause enough noise to do all that. But anyway, back to the Grant Wall tweet. So I had got wind of it and was calling some, I guess you'd say, sources. At that time, I wasn't really reporting on the story. I was just trying to help Kevin out. And so it's like Kevin's like close to being able to break this news, and then the tweet goes out from Grant Wall, and we're like, okay, this is real. Like, this is confirmed. Like, this is the biggest soccer writer in, at the time he was with Sports Illustrated.
Dude, that guy's Avi, Grant Wall, it just screams legitimacy sports writer. You know what I'm saying?
Old school, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes,
Melo
man,
just pulled up the.
Yeah, there it is. So
the-
Columbus, the tweet was Columbus Crew owner Anthony Procore is set to move team to Austin, Texas in 2019 if downtown stadium can't happen in Columbus. Story soon. So yeah, I mean you can go look at the
So
responses and the quote tweets. It was like to me, and it's funny to look at those numbers because it doesn't seem like that many like retweets and stuff. But like in American soccer Twitter, that is like that caught fire and like. I joked at that time that like my Twitter feed, like the people, the people that I followed at the time was like a curated Twitter feed for the Columbus Crew to Austin story because I was, for people that don't know, like I was a Crew intern. I, was like a casual Crew fan. I grew up 2 hours from Columbus, so I wasn't like I won't claim to be like a diehard, but I kind of got into it in college. I went to college like an hour from Columbus, so I'd drive down and bring some buddies every once in a while and go to the stadium. So like when that happened, I was following like a lot of the hardcore like fans and media and stuff like that, and I was getting sort of ingrained into the soccer scene here in Austin. And so like it was just like I couldn't believe it was happening. Like for the whole first week, I was like, because it was during Formula One week, so I came. I was like covering Formula One. I'm like in the middle of like the media room in Formula One, and I'm like watching videos of Anthony Precourt talking to like media in Austin. I'm like, what is happening right now in my life? And then like a week later, because I was thinking the whole time, like, what do I do as a journalist with this, right? Like, do I stay like a fan, like try and like, because I'm not gonna lie, like at first, before I like dug into it and all that, I was kind of pissed. I was like, this is like I know the history of like the Crew and like all this stuff. Like the same reasons I told Josh Babetsky, I was like, how are you gonna rip the Crew out of Columbus? There's not that many people that care about it, but the people that care about it really care about it. And then like a week later, I was talking to Kevin and talking to the Statesman folks, and they were like, yeah, I think we want to send somebody up to the playoff game up there. And I'm like, like, do I want to be a journalist now and like just put all these, the several Crew t-shirts and stuff, put them in the closet, put them away, and just like, cover this thing both sides and figure out what the hell's going on here. And that's where I came from as a reporter, that I was like, okay, if this thing's going to happen, I know the people in Columbus. I know the soccer community a little bit in Austin. I'm going to get to know them better. And I want to be here for this story. Like if MLS comes to Austin, like I want to be in the middle of it. So what I did was I just, went at it from the perspective of like, if this is going to happen, then people need to know how it happened. And they need to know every little detail of what happened and what's going on and who the players are and who's, trying to get this built on this piece of land and who's trying to, lie about stuff and gaslight people and all this stuff. And so that's how I got involved in the story, was just trying to be as dogged as I could. And honestly, like, you can ask my girlfriend, like I spent way too many hours on freaking like city council, message boards and all this stuff. Like, like 2 years of my life just basically like gone, but I guess it was worth it in the end, because here we are. Here I am. We are Austin TV. It's all worth it.
Yeah. So during all the stuff that's going on, it was also like, since you mentioned decisions that you made in your career and what you decided to do. So it was a mixture of Columbus coming to Austin and then yourself deciding to be a journalist and all that.
And for just for some backstory for people that are just getting into this league, Columbus Crew is historic.
Huge.
Wasn't it the first announced?
I don't think.
club?
I think San Jose was the first MLS.
No,
or
Columbus Crew was the first announced.
Yeah.
San Jose played the first match against who did they play?
I have no idea. They had a crazy kit though, and they had
Probably DC United or something.
And it was DC United.
Okay.
Yeah, first match. But Columbus Crew was the first announced team, and the reason for that was I was just watching this.
They were on FIFA 2004.
I think they had their first stadium too, right?
It was
first.
the
Yeah,
first
that was
stadium.
It was '96. I think they announced it maybe like '95 or whatever. But they announced it because they actually were the only city that got 10,000 season ticket, like basically deposits. What you'd say deposits.
Yeah.
Now,
And that was big.
Yeah, it was
That was
huge
big
at the time.
time.
That was huge at the time.
Huge at the
Austin
time.
FC said, "Hold my beer."
Yeah.
They said, "Hold my beer," and they had what was it like? They had like 20,000 on the wait list or something.
40,000.
Now it's
Well,
40?
no, 40. They had 40,000
Oh
deposits.
yeah.
They had
Deposits. You're
40.
right.
They had
I was about to
40,000
say,
deposits. Yeah.
Well, Cincinnati, or who just broke that?
St. Louis, I think.
St. Louis just
St.
broke
Louis.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a question
But
for you,
You
Bill.
can never have something nice.
Yeah.
And this is like my understanding of this whole Columbus move from Precourt. My understanding was that in his contract when he bought the Columbus Crew, there was a clause,
The famous
that
release clause.
If he were to move the club, it would be to Austin, right? Is that
Yeah.
true?
So like the clause was so funny because like the night that broke, like I said, it was a competitive story. Like people knew that this was sort of rumbling. This was a rumor, and then Grant Wall got it first. But the Columbus Dispatch beat writer at the time, his name's Adam Jardy, and he put up like, I want to say it was like a column. It was like an opinionated piece that went up like that night. It was like, you know, what time's that tweet? 9:51. It probably went up at like 11:30.
Well, you're right. That was at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, so it was late at night.
Jeez. What was I doing October 16, 2017?
I don't know. Like, did you
I was probably
you
like,
have a bowl or something?
I
Like, what are you-
I was probably, you know what I was doing? I was probably arguing with a Barca fan about how Ronaldo is the GOAT because that was prime Real Madrid era. Prime Real Madrid
Sorry,
era.
mate, you were wrong, mate.
Hey, get out of town, brother. Get out
So
of town.
the
Just
clause
saying, mate.
like was the first time I heard about that was like in this dispatch story that went up the night that all this was happening, and I like remember reading it, and then the next morning it was gone.
Damn.
Like this story was gone because like there were some stuff in there that like that being one of it that this is me sort of putting my journalist hat on, but also like knowing. I don't know this firsthand, but I imagine what happened is that the story got posted without too much vetting, and there was like some of the stuff wasn't like totally confirmed. But so like later on that year at MLS Cup, Don Garber had a press conference, and Alexi Lalas was actually the one who asked the question about the.
That guy's messy, bro.
Yeah, he asked the
guy's
question
messy,
about the
bro.
Austin clause,
Yeah.
and Don Garber just like answered the question. He's like, "Oh yeah, the Austin clause." Like he's like he just like. The way that Alexi Lalas worded the question, Don Garber was like, yes, this and this and this. And I'm like, he just confirmed the Austin clause.
Yeah,
He just confirmed that. And like,
Yeah.
so that's how we knew that was legit. And the idea, Mello, was that he bought the Columbus Crew for $68 million. And at the time, they couldn't sell the team. Like they were trying to sell it to a local owner. Basically, nobody wanted to take on the debt and pay money for the team. So they're like, they're like, we can't sell this team. So they sold it. Anthony Precourt came into the picture, and he was interested, but he wanted to be able to have the option if things weren't working out to be able to move it. And the city that he picked was Austin.
Do we know where Anthony Precourt gets his wealth? Does he come from a wealthy family?
Yeah.
or-
So
or-
his
or
family, his dad is in the oil business.
Smart
Houston.
motherfucker,
So like there's some Texas connections there, and they have a big presence in I think it's Vail,
America, baby.
Vail, Colorado.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, and his dad's name is on the Stanford, one of the Stanford schools.
Don't tell me he was in Skull and Bones, bro. He better not be in Skull and Bones, bro. He better not be involved with Prescott Bush and Daddy Bush. But you were there at Q2 when we saw the banner, the famous banner that was that was flown over our home, our turf, bro.
Really
our
stole my
stadium.
thunder. Really stole my thunder.
Bruh.
We had a plane flying.
Yeah, we did.
No, nobody's talking about our freaking plane. Like, you're just talking about Precourt's plane. No, I'm just kidding.
They stole y'all's thunder like that? Damn, dude. But the banner read,
my God.
Precourt is a snake. Precourt is a snake, man. And, like, there was so much going on in this whole process because, you talk about everything going on politically, like, this tweet, that tweet, this decision, that decision. But then when you make more research and you dive in and you see the fan side of it, Precourt was a villain in Columbus in these times. There was this picture that I saw on Twitter of one ketchup bottle and one mustard bottle. in a hot dog stand for everybody, bro. Like, think about it, if at Q2 Stadium,
Oh my
there was
God.
just like, one little spot of nacho cheese for everybody's nachos.
So I'm eating my hot dog just dry like that, bro?
So everybody was all like, yo, like, you can't neglect us. So then Precourt drops a tweet, and I wrote it down because I had to.
Fires
I had
back.
To.
He fires
something
back.
like that.
Okay.
Something like that. He says, and I quote, "I really do feel sorry for you, Crew fans. It's an uncertain time. I recognize and I take full responsibility for the situation I have put us in." And everybody was all like, hell no, crocodile tears, bro. Get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know that you don't care, care about it.
His mind is elsewhere.
His mind is elsewhere, kind of like redes.
Speaking
Shout
of
out,
Twitter
Bobby.
stuff, like the MLS2ATX Twitter account, like the first tweet that got put out from the MLS2ATX Twitter account, you know how it has like the geo stuff, like it tells you where the tweet was posted from.
Yeah.
Where do you think the first MLS2ATX tweet came from?
Columbus.
Yeah,
Oh,
in
What?
Columbus,
Oh
Ohio.
my
Yeah.
God.
They had the people. They had the people from their Austin PR firm that were in Columbus working on the MLS2ATX stuff.
Jesus
God.
Christ. Oh my.
So
dude,
like
that's
mistakes were made.
That's wild. And I know that Chris Bils has been on every podcast in Central Texas, and you've spoken about this issue many times, but a lot of people haven't gotten the top flight side of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot that went into it. And like I said before, if anybody was going to be on here talking about the game that's coming up on Sunday, which is the biggest game of the season for me, because if we're being real, we're probably not going to make playoffs by the way we're going. And some of you are going to say that it's okay. And at the end of the season, I might be like, fuck it. It's okay.
Unless we get reinforcements.
Unless we get
Yeah.
reinforcements, but we got a hell of a 5 games coming up. We're going to talk about them in a little bit, right? But if anybody was going to tell us anything about this game, it was going to be, about the whole build-up to this game was going to be Bills.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that was going to be the perfect person, the perfect person. And so one of the questions that I also had for you was like, is this a fabricated rivalry, or is there enough in this to kind of kickstart something?
Well, I think like it's like what you said driving over here about like the people that didn't know who Precourt is.
Yeah.
On when they saw the plane, like I think it's gonna depend what happens on the field, because I think there's a general awareness out there that like there's some kind of tie between Columbus and Austin. Definitely from the Columbus side, I think they want to they want to beat the shit out of Austin, and they're gonna let you know every time. Like if Columbus, can you imagine like allow yourself to kind of feel the emotion of this, because what is it going to be like if Columbus scores the first goal at Q2 Stadium?
My God,
they're never going to
bro.
let you. They're never going to let you live that down as a fan.
That's my worst fear.
I didn't realize that until one of you brought it up after the game, or like we talked about it later that night on Twitter. Like, this leaves the door open for Columbus to score the first goal. Like, that'll never be erased. This is like Diego Fagundes' goal.
Yes.
How we say he scored the first goal, and that's history. It is. If Columbus score first, bro, what are we gonna do, bro?
To be honest,
they're
man,
gonna make memes of me, bro.
Yeah. Like, I would much rather. And this sounds kind of bad to say it, but I would much rather us, if we were to lose 2-1 but score first, rather than tie.
Go up early.
Yeah, go up early, score, and then lose, rather to tie the game, but them score first or win the game. Man, it's just the historic moment. You only have one of those, and we have to score first at Q2,
Primo,
man.
Primo, what would you do if Lucas Celarayan scores a banger of a free kick?
Oh my God!
in the 27th minute, and Stuber don't even go for it. He's left flat-footed on the line. He just like does
Lo
it
crucificaron, bro.
like that up top corner.
Crucificado.
Celarayan, and hold on, and it's on the opposite side, right? But he runs to the supporter section.
Oh my God!
And he does
You're
this.
giving this dude ideas.
He
now.
does this. He does this. Like that.
Oh,
He does that.
No, bro.
What do you do, bro?
We're gonna get fined.
What do you
do,
Jeez,
bro?
dude.
But see, that's the thing, though. That's the kind of thing that could happen, and then this would be an actual rivalry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
bro.
You
Yeah,
know,
that'll-
like
that'll
because
kickstart it. That'll
because
kickstart it.
like otherwise, like if it's just like if it's a 0-0, or even if Austin wins and gets their first, like the story from that game will be like Austin got their first win at Q2 Stadium. They scored the first goal at Q2 Stadium, and you kind of forget about all the Crew and Precourt stuff.
Yeah.
But if Columbus wins, or if Columbus scores the first goal, I think that's what sort of sparks the rivalry.
And
so I don't know, like
and if you want to bring up Diego, like, because Diego had a tweet today, or I don't know, was it today or tomorrow, apologizing to the fans over that.
Oh, yeah.
Over the Minnesota performance, saying that Sunday's game is on another level. It's a different game for us. So by the way he tweeted, it almost seems like, just him, but it seems like the players are up for it too. And I feel like, dude,
I think that you got to remember the actual soccer side of this stuff too, because I think we get lost a lot of times in the fan narrative and all this stuff with pre-court. But Josh Wolf coached in Columbus.
Oh, that's true.
A lot of these players played in Columbus.
Stuver is from Columbus.
Stuver's from Cleveland, but
Oh yeah.
But he played for Columbus.
Played for Columbus.
He played for Columbus. Hector Menendez played for Columbus. Ben Sweat played for Columbus. Tarbell played for Columbus. Berhalter played for Columbus. There's like two more.
Well, he brought his guys.
Yeah. So I mean, like these guys, they don't want to lose to their old team. Like Josh Williams played with all these guys. They don't want to lose to Josh Williams.
Precourt should walk in that locker room before the game starts, and sit everybody down and be like, "Look,
that's a slippery slope.
Look. He should walk in that locker room and be like, a win bonus for everybody.
50K.
50K each guys. 50K. Win bonus. Give him a bonus. Give him a bonus.
50K, and you get to hang out with Matthew McConaughey for 1 weekend. Anywhere in the country.
What?
Primo. What would you do, though, if Columbus scores first and they win the game, though, 2-0? What would you do, brother?
I don't know, bro. I'll probably pull my hair out, leave. I don't know, bro. And the scary thing is I can see that happening, bro. Probably not just him, like, running all the way, but them scoring a banger, bro, it could happen, bro, and it's scary. Yeah. And so
Sardis is also pretty good. They have a good team.
It's a good team overall, bro. It's a good squad.
They're the defending champions.
They're champions, bro. And they're champions. So
this is gonna be.
Zardes has a lot more goals than any Austin FC forward.
Here we go. Hey.
Screw the crew.
His feelings no facts here, brother.
I mean, like, that's the kind of thing. It's like, I got freaking Sergio. Like, let's talk about the striker situation real quick.
Yeah.
Bring it back to the crew stuff.
Go for it.
Like, I got like Sergio on my mentions. Like, some of you guys are like talking about like
Sergio,
Tris. I love you, Sergio. I love you, Sergio. But like, if you're gonna be an MLS fan. Bro, you got to be an MLS fan. Like, there's certain, like, you got to live within the realm of reality, right?
Yeah.
We're not, like, Austin FC's not going to go out and sign Ronaldo and Messi.
Oh, yes.
Okay? Like, get it out of your head, right? Get it out.
Yeah.
Because,
tell him, Chris.
You don't need to spend $15 million to score goals in this league.
Exactly, bro.
No.
Like, look at the leading goal scorers right now and, like, guys that are effective forwards. It's like Giassi Zardes, Chris Wondolowski, like all these guys.
Seattle.
Raul Ruiz was like, I think he was $3 million.
Then there's that one kid, Cade.
It might have been like 7.
Cade Cowell? No, what's
like Cade Cowell? He's from San Jose. He's 17.
Yeah.
They're gonna sign a forward that you haven't heard of. Like, sorry, Sergio, unless it's
and all of Twitter.
But like, this isn't Club America, man. Like, they can't go out and just like waste their money, because if you sign a guy to a 4 or 5 year contract or to a big contract and then he doesn't pan out, like, you're screwed. Your whole franchise is done at that point until that guy's contract is over.
It's look at these guys.
Melo.
You gotta live within the MLS sphere if you're gonna be an MLS fan. Otherwise, just like go back to your old team, go back to Chelsea, and just like follow that, because like.
Haaland.
This is a rant. This is a bit of a rant that I've been sitting on for a bit. But
you're good.
Come on, guys. Like, just live within a realm of possibility. They can be like $7 to $10 million, something like that. Like, I could totally see Austin FC going and signing somebody, but it's going to be somebody from South America or Mexico that you probably don't think is like a big name. But like, look at Diego Rossi, man. Like that guy came into the league and he's scoring goals every week.
And Martinez
I've been
from
saying
Venezuela
it,
too, man.
Melo said that we got the wrong what?
Guayos.
The wrong Guayos.
We should have gone Uruguayos.
He said that we got Paraguayos. We should have got Uruguayos.
Uruguay has history, and they
they have great players. Fede Valverde.
It's insane. It's insane.
El Loco.
Anyway, we can get back to Columbus now. I just needed to go off on Sergio.
I'll bring it back to Columbus real quick.
Wait, hold on. Before you bring back to Columbus, why'd you bring up Chicha
I just want to
Dios?
show the top scorers in MLS.
Okay.
Chicharito, Rui Diaz, Saloy.
Bro, Daniel.
Shallowy.
For those of you that are just listening, obviously you're not here at the Top Flight Podcast studio, but we got Bali in the studio chilling with my boy D. But Daniel, was I not saying bring Chicharito to Austin FC. And what did everybody tell me?
did.
Are you stupid?
Well, yeah.
Look at how he's playing. I was like, bro,
Yeah.
do you not read his Instagram captions?
Yeah.
This guy is going to go off next season, bro.
Yeah.
This guy...
He's got something to
he was
prove,
getting so
bro.
much criticism saying that he was on the internet more than playing on the pitch, which was true. You know what I'm saying? But I knew he was due for a comeback, bro.
And he got so much stick right
But
off
like
the bat.
you also got up on the screen, the leading assists in
Yeah.
MLS is Carles Seal, and like I tweeted this morning. But like, if you want an example of what you can do in one window, like I'm pretty sure New England brought in both Carles Seal and Gustavo Bo during the summer window when they hired Bruce Arena, and they're the best team in the East right now. Like that's the New England Revolution. Like I still can't believe I think in my tweet I even said like might be the best team in the East. They are the best team in the East. I just can't accept it because it's like, what the hell is going on?
Quick, what do you think of their new crest, man?
Oh, dude, man! Like they better move into a new stadium. That's a Boston crest, you know. Like, but
I like the crest.
you like
Me
it?
too.
I
Me
like
too.
it. I like the crest.
You
I
know,
like it too.
I see
Bring
how-
it up real quick. Bring it up.
But like,
Look
you
at it.
can't get rid of the it's the only one
crayon
left.
flag,
And
man.
the crayon flag. Yeah, just like leave it, man. It's the only one left.
All
New
these
England
clubs
Revolution?
wanna like be more of like a international look. They wanna kind of
They all want to be FC now. They all want to be FC.
United,
Bro, I
Inter.
think it looks lit.
It's not
think
that
it looks
bad.
I
lit.
like it. I like it,
It's
man.
not that
It's
bad.
fine.
Out of all the
But-
rebrands, I think this one is by far one of the best ones because Montreal, or I'm sorry,
Club de Foot.
Club de Foot,
Club de
Montreal,
Foot, Montreal.
I think is whack. Columbus, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
You know what I'm
but,
saying?
like
Yeah,
the New England,
Houston,
like
Chicago Fire.
if you took away the New England from that and the Revolution from that, and you just like put that on a board and you asked me what league that team plays in,
Yeah.
like what would
England.
you say?
England.
I'd say it's
Yeah.
like a rugby team.
You would have no idea. You'd say probably England, maybe Germany.
I would say some
Or,
sort of like
probably England.
second
You would
division
say
England.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
it's
a
like
championship team,
It's a
you know?
championship
Yeah,
or
yeah,
League
yeah.
One
championship team.
Now look at the New England Revolution logo. Where's that?
Oh,
team?
that's the
This
US.
is classic.
Yeah.
This
That's
is classic.
America, man.
That's
Yeah.
America.
So that's
Hey,
my
you're bringing
point.
up a
It's
good
like
point, man.
why
Yeah,
why
that's a good
destroy
point.
the history of this league? You know,
And
like,
Well, I'm
Like,
sorry.
you just gotta-
I'm sorry. I thought this was America.
Yeah,
You know?
but to be fair to New England, all these clubs are doing the same thing, man.
Yeah.
They're copying Premier League clubs. They're copying
They
European
had some,
clubs.
you know, they
I mean,
have
it's
the
'cause- it's
freaking
'cause that's the
consultant
money.
group. They have like these,
And-
you know, they're doing these studies and they're like, oh,
I mean,
you have to do this.
Yeah, and the reason being is because they feel, and I agree with this talk about the MLS, that the MLS could potentially grow and become one of the biggest leagues.
I tell this
You know how they're gonna do that though? Just spend some money and buy some players.
Yes, bro. Yes,
And your crest isn't gonna.
And the
fucking-
Hey,
fact
question.
that it's a closed market, there is no relegation or promotion. Investment in this league is not as risky as it is in other leagues. Like there's where your team can get relegated or another.
Boom, right there. That's it.
So
should the MLS sooner or later
man.
implement a promotion relegation?
Never
Because
gonna
they're
happen, mate.
making new third
Never-
divisions.
never
blah,
Never
blah,
gonna
blah.
happen, mate.
never.
Bro, there are Jamie Vardys out there waiting to explode,
No,
bro.
the owners have invested way too much money to
10 years from now. Man, I'm not saying 2 to 3 years. I'm saying 10, 15 years into the future.
Depends on
If soccer's even
not.
around.
I mean, the
'cause-
2026 World Cup is gonna be huge for this.
Yeah.
league.
Oh,
It's
it's
not
gonna
gonna-
be huge.
Like you remember
Yeah.
when Clint Dempsey came back to the U.S.
Yeah, after
like when he
playing-
came
yeah.
he came to
Yeah.
Seattle, and like you're like
Oh,
this
yeah,
dude's in
yeah,
his
yeah.
prime. Like,
Yeah.
what is he doing? Like,
Yeah.
you know, and Josie Altidore and Michael Bradley came back. Like 2026. Think about how old will Christian Pulisic be and Gio Reyna
in his
and
prime.
like all
In
those
their
guys.
prime.
Like, imagine the push right on the back end of that 2026 World Cup if a lot of those guys, like, say they go make the semifinals or, you know, even let's
Even
dream.
quarters.
Let's
I
dream.
actually think they will. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie. I
yeah.
think they will. I gotta make it into the Final Four in that World
Like,
Cup.
imagine the buzz around that, and then imagine
Oh
all those
my
guys sign with
God.
MLS teams. Like,
Not only that, imagine all the money they
Yeah.
would make in the country, bro.
Yeah.
So much money
But
would be
we're
generated,
we're
bro.
talking now,
Could
you
it
know.
could it jump football? Could
No.
it could it
man.
jump football in this
No.
country?
It's
Could it
gonna-
jump
it's
football?
going to, bro.
Never,
It's
bro.
going to, brother.
Never, bro.
Budweiser, look, Budweiser and Bud Light are gonna realize that parents aren't letting their children play football no more, and they're signing all these
CTE.
little kids up to these soccer leagues.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's the safer alternative to sports and football. Honestly, bro, I see football declining,
It's
bro.
just the thing that the football, it's
too big.
it's the roots are so deep, bro.
Yeah.
It's
100%.
colleges,
100%.
high school. I mean, dude, here in Texas, high school state games are like Super Bowls out here, man.
And that's one thing that made it so difficult for people to imagine MLS even making it to ATX.
Yeah.
Because we were like, bro, we already got the Longhorns, bro. Like,
Yeah.
where are you gonna put the stadium? You know what I'm saying?
That's the biggest
Where are you gonna
thing.
put the
Like,
stadium?
where are you gonna put the stadium? Why? We'll put it on Zilker Park.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
But Chris, I want to ask you, what were the parts or the lots that they were considering in the movement from MLS to ATX? Because it wasn't just McCalla the whole time.
I did a thing. I think I did like hashtag MLS to ATX tour, where I like invited people out to. And Derek Ensign was actually the first one.
Hey,
You
shout
guys
out
know
Derek.
Derek?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Derek.
Yeah.
So Derek was actually
He's
the
a
first
funny
one
guy.
that saw McCalla with me. But that was after we went to the different stadium sites were, I mean, Butler Shores, Metropolitan Park, which was downtown, was definitely a no-go. But like they really pushed hard for that one. And almost destroyed the whole deal because they were trying to push too hard for it.
Yeah.
And they had Roy G. Guerrero Park.
Yeah.
That's like you mentioned Oracle. Like that's what we were kind of picturing. It's like
Hey, good shit.
Oracle
that would've
Stadium
been-
out
yeah,
there, you know. And then there was some other park that I'm not remembering, but they had some other training sites. There was that Home Depot out.
The Home Depot off of probably
35.
like 35, the one that's not
35
open
in St.
anymore.
John's,
The one
yeah.
that's not open anymore.
That was like on the map. Like it was all these places that the city wanted to get rid of, basically.
Yo, for the longest time, that Home Depot, I don't know if this is true or not, but my parents always told me that they were gonna turn that into an immigration office. For the longest time, they kept telling me that. And then, like, every
You're
year,
just
bro,
trying to scare you. Get
bro,
home before the
every
street lights
year-
come on.
Bro, no cap. Every year that I grew old, and as I got my first car and I started to drive, I always drove by there, and I'm like, when are they gonna start this shit? Like, is this ever gonna
It's
happen?
been Home Depot. Just
It's
abandoned.
I got my COVID test.
Is it
there.
ever gonna happen? You know what I'm saying? But that would have been a weird spot to
Yeah.
put the stadium, though it is on 35, 183.
That would have been a weird. That
It
would have
been
been
weird.
spot.
The traffic would have been insane, especially how they demoed that overpass, man. Oh my god.
But like
The
the
domain
thing
is
with
perfect.
McCalla was always the transportation. It's like how are you gonna get people in there? And I think we're still like people. It would before it was where are you gonna build the stadium? Now it's like how do I get to the stadium?
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, the shuttle.
Oh yeah.
A
disaster.
joke.
Joke. Hey,
Disaster.
parking's $40 though, bro. Parking's $40.
You know how much the train is?
Oh, it's free.
Well, it's free. Until
July 4th.
July, and then it's $7.
$7.
Yeah.
I'll take
Hey.
the train any day, baby.
That's the move, bro. You know, actually, I was
I'm paying
I
40
was telling
bucks.
Chris this. Whenever we shoot pods,
Or you can ride your bike.
you could. Some of y'all can ride your bike, like Melo. No, you can't. Primo can ride.
Bro,
Oh my.
I'll leave
I
at
was
like
gonna
4
get
p.m.
really
or
to
8
the
p.m.
road.
Yeah. Could you imagine Melo after that bike ride?
You gotta
dude?
leave tonight. You gotta leave tonight.
Yeah.
To
He'd
make
be
it
the
there
only
Sunday.
I guarantee you'd be the only one on the terrace that rode his bike to the stadium.
Primo
Oh my
could.
God.
Primo could ride his bike. Don't you live close there, Primo?
Yeah, bro. I live like just the neighborhood right behind Fort
Real
Sac,
OG, bro. Real OG.
We-
That's what some
we
people
walked
don't
back
get about
home
us. That's
after
what
the
some
game.
people don't get.
Yeah,
Dude,
it's like a 10,
yeah.
15 minute walk.
If you want to move into like the location, man, the domain right there, that area, the north side right there on Burnett Road and Breaker, man, that's where we all like rode our bikes as a kid. We knew that fenced out area where there was just a bunch of, just like what the hell
Bro, Daniel lived like, I'd say like 8 houses up the street from me forever.
What was where the domain is now?
The domain.
Like when you guys were little.
So shout out to my boy Ari Silva. He put a tweet out earlier today. He said that he used to work at the IBM that was once the domain. So I think there was like some type of maybe office buildings. I don't know, honestly. I can't
The
really
IBM
remember
is-
that far back.
Yeah, it's on Metric and
That's where we used to play soccer.
Village Lamp, yeah.
Okay.
Bro, we used to play soccer there at IBM and we got kicked out. Bro, we got kicked out and then they wouldn't let us back in, but they had a sweet
Yeah,
setup.
but they left
They
the
had a
guys
sweet
playing
setup.
Quidditch.
Yeah.
They wouldn't kick those guys.
Yeah. Why didn't you kick out Harry Potter?
Yeah.
You know?
Austin's a Quidditch city, baby.
Fuck,
Yeah.
man.
Hey,
It
I
kinda is.
see that a lot more often.
kind of
man,
is,
you know?
bro.
And I'm always
Austin's a
intrigued.
soccer
How do
city?
you
Nah,
tell
nah,
people?
Austin's a Quidditch city.
How do you tell people what they're doing? How? Like, has anybody asked you, what are they doing? Has anybody asked you that? How do you tell them, oh, they're playing Quidditch. It's it's whatever. You just keep on driving because I'm never walking. I'm always like driving and I see like, oh shit.
I like that they use
Quidditch.
like the brooms or a stick as like a prop because there's not a need for to have things.
I personally know 3 guys that play Quidditch here in Austin. Personally know them, so it's like
I'm not one of them.
Yeah, Chris ain't one of them.
Surprising enough.
Shout out to all the Harry Potter fans.
Shout out to
all the Harry Potter fans.
Never got into that shit.
Let me bring it back to Columbus and Austin rivalry.
Thank you. Yes, that was a good little.
Okay, so
in we got going there. I took us way off. Off path.
In my humble opinion, I feel like out of all the rivalries that are kind of being set up in MLS, a lot of them seem kind of forced. With NYCFC and the Red Bulls. It's like, for me, like this Austin Columbus thing, that seems to me like one of the most organic.
It has some real messy
rivalries.
But like, you got to lean into it, right?
You have to.
MLS has to lean into it.
You have to.
And it's so weird to me because they scheduled this game. Like whoever Austin's only playing 2 Eastern Conference teams this year.
Right.
And one of them is Columbus. Like, that's not an accident, right? Like,
not an accident.
But at the same token, like, I sort of went on a rant earlier this year because they had this press conference on MLS Media Days where they had, Anthony Precourt, D. Haslam, who's the owner of the Crew, and Carl Lindner, the owner of FC Cincinnati. And they had those 3 on, like, a press call. And I'm like, oh, here we go, baby. Here we go. Like, got all my questions ready to go. And I get on the Zoom call, and they're like, no questions from media.
Oh.
And I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, you're going to schedule this game.
Yeah.
You're going to open these 2 stadiums, and you're going to put these 3 owners on a Zoom call together, and then you're not going to talk about the elephant in the room. Like, you're just going to – they didn't even talk about – so, like – I think, the message to MLS is, like, if you want to, like, take advantage of that buzz and you want, this league to be organic and, to have real rivalries, steer into it, baby.
Yeah.
Have McConaughey out here saying, screw the Crew, wearing this T-shirt, Yeah. Like, he comes out with the drum, he's wearing the T-shirt.
McConaughey, hit us up, brother. Hit us up.
Yeah. What size are you? Yeah. Just tell us what size you are.
But that's why I think this rivalry ultimately is going to die. It's
you
not
think so?
What?
No,
because Austin doesn't care.
True.
You care, but Austin doesn't
Bro,
care.
you know what? You know what? He's right. He's right. Austin don't care because
Austin wants to be Houston and
Dallas.
Dallas.
Austin don't care, bro. Austin don't care. Austin don't care
that
because
is such a you're
because
right.
You know what? Because we were trying to promote Screw the Crew shirt,
and we care so much.
One of
that's
our
the
homies,
thing, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, they flew a banner
over
in our stadium. Saying Precourt is a state, bro. Precourt brought what I've wanted in my city my whole life.
How
bro.
fucking dare you?
So you know what? Precourt is my homie. If you want smoke with my homie, guess what's gonna happen,
bro?
Guess what's gonna happen. But then you got people from your own camp saying, "Yo, this is tacky. This wasn't well done." Okay, I'm sorry that I didn't have smokes and I performed the fucking show. I'm sorry. It's my fault, dude.
I don't understand how this isn't everybody. I don't understand how like everybody should be uniquely pissed off and try to see.
But why? Why are you pissed from an Austin perspective about the Crew?
Like, okay,
what do they do?
So they started this like rivalry, talking shit online, social media, and they attacked the fans, a part of the club, even though the fans had nothing to do with the fact that their owner wanted to move the club. So they brought this on. No, Austin wasn't asking, hey, let's be rivals. You threw hate at us, and we want to throw it back.
Yeah.
Because that's the instinct that I get.
There's also, I'm just playing devil's advocate like I always do with what you say, B, because you have badass takes, and I like to ask questions so you can keep talking. But don't you think if you put yourself in Columbus' shoes, you're like, fuck you guys. Why are you trying to take my team? Like, this is my team. This is my life.
That was what got lost the whole time that I was so frustrated with it. The whole time. Because, like, if you're a Columbus fan, you're like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened in, like, my sports fandom. Like, this owner is trying to take my team. And these people in Austin are wearing these freaking scarves that our season ticket money is paying for.
And
these
you
scarves.
see them practicing chants. all right. No, you would be pissed.
Oh, bro.
So they're like watching this, and they thought that, like, they didn't think like Austin's not a soccer city. Like, why is Austin gonna get a team? Like, but they didn't understand like the history of soccer here and like the fact that but. They were watching all these fans like get interested in this MLS movement, and like the few of them were like talking shit back online and saying we love Precourt and screw you guys, like show up
I love
maybe if you want to keep your team, show up to the stadium and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And like it started like this, but it's like 100 people tops that care about this thing.
I mean, I come
you know
from
what I mean?
yeah.
Like, it's just Twitter. Like Twitter's not real life. That's what this. If this whole thing taught me one thing, it's that Twitter's not real life.
That's true.
Well, the way that I see it,
that's the end lesson of this whole Columbus Crew.
That's true, but man, the way that I see it is when you support a club, especially soccer. I came from a rivalry, a heavy rivalry in my family, the Mexican Clásico, America Chivas, and
dude, that's like a national holiday.
It's like, okay, some people that I know, they're like, they support the club, they just support the club. A guy can just say something remotely close to a diss to it. It's on. It's on. Regardless of whether, you know.
It's because there's a lot into it.
Because,
there's a lot of paperwork shit
I'm seeking a rivalry. I'm seeking something to talk shit about my team. Yeah. So I want to talk shit back to you. Like, that's the type of culture that I came up with during the Mexican Clásicos de Monterrey versus Tigres. Bro, during those games, man, it was like you would have to wear shoulder pads and fucking, you know, be ready for a rumble. And that's the type of vibe that I came up through. So when I see something like that, personally, and I know a lot of people don't see it this way, it ticks me off, man. I know.
And we also don't condone violence.
We don't condone violence, but it's almost like you seek that rivalry because it also, I think it helps the teams better themselves and compete against one another, bro. Because imagine if this rivalry does become something, because we don't know yet. It's in the infancy, right? Yeah. Let's say the game tomorrow, something crazy happens, like you say, we win, you know, or Sunday on Sunday, and this could come to reality. We're gonna be literally competing against the champions of MLS, right? Yeah. And a team that is a lot better and that can compete in the MLS. Yeah. And for us to come out for that game and like give it our all, it's like a final. It only makes us better, and I want that for the team, man. Yeah. And I'm disappointed personally that not everybody sees it this way. And
some people do. There's some
people do, but not the majority. The majority doesn't want to care, or they look around, or they're like, it's whatever. Like. That type of mentality, that vibe, man.
Before you come in, Melo, I want to say that there's a lot of silent Austin FC fans. There's a lot of silent fans that don't really speak their mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's like people behind the scenes that'll say, yo, I really agree with what you're saying on your podcast and blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, haha, cool. But then, like, on, like, you know, on social media or whatever, they don't express their opinions 100%.
It's almost like they like us because we say what they think. And we're out openly, you know, doing this, screw the crew. When low-key you got a fan sitting down, screw the crew. I'm not going to tweet it, or I'm not going to do this. But you're right, screw the crew. And we're out here.
There's a lot of silent fans. There's a lot of silent fans. But Melo, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just think, like you said, Chris, for me, just for the fact that Precourt wanted to move the club, and there was like obviously like people upset who are Columbus fans, obviously, and then, you know, hate started to be thrown around on social media or whatever. I just feel like that inherently creates that football animosity that you kind of need for like an organic rivalry, compared to some of the most business like rivalry things that they've been trying to do.
A derby gets considered a rivalry because you're in the same city. That's it.
Yeah.
You want to talk about business? I want to ask this. I want to ask a question.
New York is red.
Yeah.
New York is blue. New York is red. It's a derby. This is not a derby. This is something else.
And New York came out of nowhere. Yeah. Just
Reina.
Out of Manchester City.
Reina.
You know?
New York City FC, right?
Yeah.
Reina, that was his baby also. That was his baby. He brought a bunch of stars. But I wanted to ask this. You talk about business, and we're talking about controversy and rivalry. The fact that the MLS, and we were talking about this, Chris, on the way over here. The fact that the MLS, when they made the schedule, they were like, yo, let's make the home opener Columbus Crew versus Austin FC. Somebody probably was like, no, hell no. That would make it way too obvious that we trying to make this happen. So what they did is they probably just pushed it back 1 week, and they made it the second game at Q2. Bro, why is it the second game at Q2, bro? I mean, we couldn't have it.
There's also another part to this that I don't know if you guys have caught on to, is that next weekend, the game after this for Columbus is their stadium opener.
Oh.
Yeah. So like it's the last. So they just closed down Old Crew Stadium. And now they're coming to Austin, which obviously has some significance. And then they're going to their home, their new home.
Yeah, about that.
Which is like, I agree with you. It's like, again, it goes back to the lean into it. Like, if you're going to do it, make it the first game.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how...
Don't just tease me,
baby.
baby. Don't just tease me,
Can you imagine
baby?
what that would have been like last week if that was the first game at
Yeah.
Q2?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I
think it would have been bad for Austin fans.
There would have been
Or it
more
would have been
Crew
like,
fans.
It would have been... No, there would have been more Crew fans that are going to be than are going to be here this Sunday, or what do you mean?
I think that I think this Sunday there's not going to be many Crew fans.
You don't think
Nah.
so?
I don't think so because they were
yeah.
already talking shit about $70 ticket pricing. So they might be like a protest and saying like, I'm not going to pay $70 to go down.
But
you know? It might be like a protest.
You don't think there's some Crew fans after all that's been happening? They
They're
don't
gonna
want to at
travel.
least
No,
come
I
in?
mean, yes, but like if anything,
Listen,
they'll
I'm
be
from Ohio.
older gentlemen.
We're cheap. All right, they're not coming down here. They're not coming down here.
That's
man.
what I'm saying.
They
It's gonna be older.
They don't want to
older.
spend the money on the
It's gonna be
airfare
older
plus
guys.
a $70
we
ticket.
don't want them over here anyways, man.
If you see anybody with like Ohio gear, it's gonna be maybe like maybe parents of players that are in the area or like.
No, they'll be here. I mean, there would be like
Man, I wish
a dozen of them.
I wish the
Yeah,
reason I wish the reason they don't
few,
come
very
here is
few.
because they're scared, not because they're cheap, man. That's the thing, man.
I
They're-
mean, Austin FC is not
I
gonna do
don't-
no
dude,
Kansas City shit
I
where they
would be-
post like some cartel
yeah.
picture.
I would be so pissed if like
What we got though? What we got?
I would be so pissed if a lot of
Throw it to
fans
me.
come in and just gently walk and sit down and get.
Well, I
man,
think
like-
that not to give people ideas because I actually think this is like. I don't know if any Columbus fans will listen to this, but like I do think that there's a sentiment from the front office that they're a little bit concerned that people are going to come in and try to start shit, and they're going to, go, wreck some stuff in the stadium and be that kind of petty. And, I was talking about this with Roberto Silva, who is my business partner and the executive director of the Striker Texas, but he used to run stadiums in Brazil. And what he was telling me it's really interesting. Like he was saying that when they have big rivalry games, they basically will set up like stuff in the bathrooms and like direct all the opposing fans to a certain area of the stadium. They're only allowed to go to that bathroom. So
Like
then,
walk 'em
so
pretty
it's like they have like stuff there that they're like, okay, you can break this. Like we know that you're gonna break this. So like,
you break this.
break this. Yeah.
I don't think MLS is there, man. That's
No,
Brazil, bro.
I don't. Yeah, that's definitely
Yeah.
Brazil.
Although how much I would
But,
love it to be,
Like, to be fair,
Bro, they got real games
Crew
out there.
fans did bust up the bathrooms in Crew Stadium when they were trying to prove that Precourt was like, they busted the bathrooms of their
Wait,
own stadium, and
so-
then they posted
As a
pictures of
protest.
it.
Their
and
own
they,
stadium, bro.
they
Their own
posted
stadium.
pictures of it, and they were like, "Look, they're not taking care of the
oh
bathrooms."
my
Yeah.
god.
Oh,
That-
that's what they were. So
That really happened, yeah.
So I did see that this morning when I was doing my round of research on the subject. I saw two things. I saw a big tweet out there of a picture of a ketchup stand that had one mustard bottle and one ketchup bottle, right? And the tweet was how like Precourt was, he was like treating the fans bad and not giving them what they need to enjoy a proper game day.
Yeah.
And then I also saw that the restrooms were being maintained. So I was like, I guess they stopped paying for like the cleaning services or something. He was trying to save buck.
Their own fans fucked
But
it
their
up.
own fans fucked up the
I bet you.
restrooms.
I wouldn't be surprised if the cameraman who took that picture of the bottle was holding the rest of the bottles, dude. Just like, look, man, look what they're doing.
Bro, this is almost
losers,
almost
bro.
like
It's politics,
January
man.
6th.
It's like it's freaking.
Oh, bro. Oh my god.
This is
Yeah.
tough. This is tough. And
Yeah.
then it's
That's how I felt reporting on this thing, though. Is like I was telling you on the drive over. Is like the guy who. So there's a documentary coming out. I think he's definitely showing it in Columbus this week. I think it's going to be on Copa 90 eventually. Pretty good telling of the Save the Crew story, but it also has a lot of like Austin people in it. Like he interviewed, I think, Josh Jackson, Andrew Urban.
Who directed it?
The guy's name is Sean Turner. I got to know him pretty well. He's actually from England, but he lived in Columbus for a bit, and he does F1 stuff. So like he's down in Austin quite a
So
bit.
they're just gonna, glorify Save the Crew. It's saved, and the
Well,
villain's
see, this is.
Austin.
I mean, we can get into this part too, because Hernan on the drive over was also saying like it is a cool story.
yeah.
Like if you just separate yourself from the Austin side of it, like
I
these
can't.
fans saved their team. Like they
did a whole movement,
Like-
bro. Like out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and so
I
that's
know,
the
but-
part that like I think that I think that was my takeaway because I watched the documentary. Sean sent me a screener of it, and I'll have like a preview up on the Striker Texas that actually kind of shows some of the footage never before seen. Kind of shows how close the Austin Stadium was to not happening, at least the way that it happened. Like there was a lot of tension in the city council that day, and like I feel like us as writers could only capture so much of it. And Sean literally got like the audio of things that nobody else heard from Precourt of saying like basically like there was a moment where they were like, I don't know if this deal is going to work. Like they were, So that's some good history that you can check up on the Striker and on Copa 90. But my point with that is, you know, we were talking on the drive over about, you know, just the other side of this story, which is that, and I kind of feel this too. I think that Sunday is going to be personally kind of a cool day for me because like this is a matchup I never thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think that like if the Crew was going to exist, then Austin wasn't going to have MLS, and if Austin FC was going to exist, then my like Ohio wouldn't. The Crew was no longer going to exist, and now they're playing each other. Like this is like. I think it's a moment that I didn't even allow myself to like think about for several years, and it's going to actually happen. So like I think that's the other end of this thing is like.
I hope there's a lot of promo going into this.
To Melo's point, this is something that could. It's in its infancy, but this is something that could become something big and become a really big rivalry if the Austin FC fans want to make it, or if the MLS wants to lean into it. And as far as the way it seems, the majority of Austin FC fans kind of just,
Yeah.
But you talk about, Chris, how, you know, in the part of that documentary, how Precourt is like, oh, this deal might not happen. Leslie Poole, lady from City Council, she was a huge, not a wall in this, but she was just like I guess like a safety. She was just taking care of Austin, I guess some people could say. I mean, different way you could look at it.
Anti-Austin FC?
She said she's just worried about the contract. Like, I wrote down 4 key things that she was demanding from PSV Precourt. One was that they required Precourt Ventures to pay rent at market rate, required Precourt Ventures to fully fund a new train station, and then to establish a solid transportation/traffic plan, along with heavy financial penalties if they relocated again. Mm-hmm. And whenever everything happened, the 7-4, there's this famous little video of Precourt going up to Leslie Poole, and she tells him some stuff like, "Oh, like you better do what you're out here saying because you're on record," type stuff. And Precourt is just there, like, and she's like on a platform, up
like staring down,
staring down, and it just looks like a mom telling her son, like, "You better not do it again, sonny," you know. And then Precourt's just like, "Okay,
I'll let you go with your friends, but you better be back by 9.
Mom. And then he and then he shows up at like 2 a.m, all drunk and shit. But I mean, you know, you say that
with
this
Matthew McConaughey,
you say with Matthew, dazed and confused, but. You know, you say that this almost didn't happen. Like, if.
But wait, sorry to cut you off. Are those things now? Is that in the contract now?
I don't know.
You don't know for sure.
Some of that stuff is in.
Okay.
I have the. See, that's what I was gonna say about the Leslie Poole stuff, because in my desk I have like this binder that's like. It's like super thick. It's got all the like stadium plans, all this stuff. One of the things I think that's in there, and I should go try and find this, was Leslie Poole had one of her poor staffers spend like weeks, maybe like a whole month, where this was literally his job, was to just do all the calculations on like how much tax money would be lost over like a 25-year span because they built this stadium on this land instead of like selling it to like private people. So it was like it was like all this stuff, and I was like trying to like read through it all and make sure that it was factual. Like, oh my God, I wasted so much of my life on this shit. Like, I'm just thinking of now you got me just thinking about how many hours I spent.
Just that sounds interesting, man.
This is one of the juiciest topics in recent MLS history. That's why, you know, the Screw the Crew t-shirts are going around. There's this talk about rivalry being made. But before we close in on this topic of Columbus and we move into the recap of the disaster in St. Paul, I want to ask you guys y'all score predictions for the game on Sunday. Realistic score prediction, because you know what my girl told me. Shout out to my girl, and most importantly, shout out to her nephew, Julian. He watches our videos all the time and he comments all the time. You can see his recent comment. Shout out to that little dude. He's like 5. And my nephew Willie. They always watch our videos, bro. Shout out to them. But you know what she told me, bro? She's like, hey, some of your recent takes have been way off. And not only my takes, but my score thoughts. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? Don't talk to me about soccer. you don't know. You don't know what goes into this. Talk to me about nails. Talk to me about clothes.
And then she was like, Minnesota United's gonna beat you 2-0.
She actually called it to the scorer. No, I'm just kidding, bro. She didn't call. But I want to ask you guys.
She had the goal scorers.
She had the goal scorer. I think she even placed a bet and she hit for like 1,200 on what's the app called? Bovada, whatever the fuck. But what's your score predictions for Sunday?
I don't know, bro. To be realistic, like you said, not being biased or anything, it's gonna be hard to say, but 2-0, bro. Columbus. Awesome.
Get out of town. Get out of town.
I'm being realistic, bro.
Get out of town.
I'm being realistic.
And take this Kansas City
as much as I want Austin FC to score that first goal, as much as I want them to win, bro, this past game was shit. And so, we were saying, Columbus is a strong team overall. The culture is great. Yeah. They're coming hungry. Like, bro, this was planned, And so, realistically, bro, I don't know, 2-0.
Melo.
Man, that's a tough one.
How was it seeing from vacation?
I couldn't see it because you're restricted.
Because of you're out of area?
Location.
Mm. Oh, okay.
But I saw the highlights.
You didn't miss it. You didn't miss anything.
It's whatever. For against Minnesota, we're shite. And my big problem with Columbus is they're a really good team, current MLS champs. And my biggest concern is the injury list. Mm. If we continue with this pattern of, 1, getting injured, 2, not getting back our players, and the performance against Minnesota was not good. And Nick Lima being out is key. Mm-hmm. If Ring is not back,
I think he will be, though. He will be.
If he's back, I'm a little more optimistic. Mm-hmm. But no Danny Pereira. Well, is he gonna be back by?
I think he will be back.
Columbus.
I think
but
he
he's
will
not
be back.
Start, bro. They can't throw him out there like that.
They would, though. They would.
I feel like we need to, because while Lil Sebastian, he's doing the best that he can, and he needs minutes. He's still like really young. He's no Ring, and he's no Danny Pereira. Mm-hmm. So Diego has been holding it down, but he's probably getting tired.
Yeah.
And we have no bench. Yeah. Redes is not doing good.
Tronco. Pinch poke, you owe me a Coke.
Drink water.
You know what I mean? Agua. So I have very low confidence, and we saw against Minnesota when Brad Stuber is not playing like OP level, Manuel Neuer. You know what I'm saying? Like incredible. Yeah. We're gonna get scored on.
Yeah.
So we cannot bet on our goalkeeper being OP, going ham every game, because it's not realistic. It's not gonna happen. Yeah. So, all that to say, I don't see a positive result. I think we'll score a goal. I'm gonna go.
Hopefully, it's the first one.
I'm gonna go 2-1.
2-1
to Columbus.
Okay. Bali, you want to chime in? Bali from behind the scenes.
3-0, we'll lose. No doubt about it.
Oh my God.
No doubt about it. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing yesterday. I'm disgusted by the performance, and I don't expect much. No Ring, no Danny. So you know what's going to happen. Bad news for us. So pray a lot.
B, your turn.
Man, I'm sick of this, bro. We're wearing Screw the Crew shirts, bro. We're talking about 3-0, 2-1. Man, these players are up for it. They know the rivalry here, man. Yep. Look, whatever you saw in Minnesota, San Jose,
that was a different team.
Feel like you could almost set that a little bit aside. This is going to be a final, man. And I got faith in the players. Diego's tweet kind of gave me a little bit of props of like, this Sunday is a different game for us. I feel like this is a final for them, and I feel like we can get a result, dude. I got a 2-1 victory, man, for Austin. It's Screw the Crew over here for me, man. Hey, look, you could give me about realistic. They're the champions, man. I'm more of emotion, man. I feel like this is a big – we haven't scored at Q2. The fans are going to be out here. Los Betas are going to be out here. La Murga's going to be out there. It's going to be a final. And this is the crew, the crew. Screw the Crew, man. 2-1. Austin, Texas, man.
Chris.
I would love to see a competitive game. I think it'd be, really fun for the rivalry, or, like the potential for the rivalry if there was a late winner in this thing. But I just like, I mean, Bali and Melo, like it's just. I was watching last night from I was in Minnesota and it was men against boys on that pitch.
That was the title of your.
It was men against boys, and it's not like the players' fault necessarily because a lot of those guys like Manny Perez and Aiden Stanley. It was their first MLS start, and it's like. And Sebastian Berhalter got thrown out like 10 minutes before kickoff. They're like, "Oh, you're starting." He's like, "What?"
We played with 10 men. Redes was not there, so it's just,
it's like there. I think this team, like Josh, I think Josh Wolf has good ideas. I think that he's got a few players, but Tomas Pochettino is not going to be Tomas Pochettino until he's got another player next to him that's better than he is. That's just that's real. Like I think that I think you'll love Tomas Pochettino by the end of the year, but it's going to be after somebody else unlocks him because he's trying to do too much. And I think Cecilio Dominguez, like as good as he's been at 9, like they need to have somebody that's actually playing the 9 and let him drift in from the left and actually play the way that Josh wants him to play.
Be creative.
And like right now they're too banged up. Like Matt Beasler's banged up. I don't know if you guys caught that from the presser last night. He had a contusion and he wasn't ready to go for last night. He was in Minnesota, but and then Alex Ring, obviously, he might be ready to go, but I don't know, can you expect him to be 100%? I mean, you guys like Alex Ring, if he can go, he's going to go. And last night he said, I can't go. So like that tells you he's hurting pretty bad. And then, Nick Lima, I don't think we'll see him for probably, a few weeks at least.
I think they said 3 matches.
Yeah. So
I saw somebody say that.
So you take all that into account, and I just think it's 3-0 Columbus. Like this, look at the roster. Like look at Lucas Zalaran, Giassi Zardes, Milton Valenzuela is one of the best left backs in the league. Kevin Molino's back.
I should have gone last.
Kevin Molino's back, and he's actually playing. Like you want Kevin Molino running at Hector Jimenez? Like
my
dude,
G.
like
hey,
I would love to see a competitive game. I just think that like Columbus is the better team. And
in a final, anything can happen.
Maybe I'm in dangerous here because I think the players might actually listen to you guys, and I don't think they listen to me. But sorry, guys. Like, I mean, come out and prove it.
You got a really strong team that's been showing good champions against a team that's been injury prone and it's not looking good. But I feel like the players are going to see this game as a final, man, as a one-off game, man. They're going to see this as who cares who we play next? Who cares who's injured? One-off game.
Julio Cascante said last night, and I sort of asked him, like, what's been communicated to you guys? Because, I mean, it's obviously frustrating to go out there and you're trying your best, but you don't have it, right? Like, you don't have the pieces around you to be competitive in a game like last night. And, what's been communicated to you guys about, like, what's coming? Like, you got more people, and he was just like, it's a team. We gotta try our best. Everybody's trying their best. Like even the guys that are playing out of position are trying their best. And I just asked him, like, is your best good enough right now? Because like even if they play their best, like if you put out the 11 that played last night, they need help. It's on Claudio and Josh to get some of these signings across the line. Otherwise, this team's not making the playoffs. Like the team that played last night, like. Those guys I think are gonna be good, but that was a U23 side, man. Like those those guys need minutes. They need professional minutes to get better. And last night was good experience for them. But against especially with Minnesota bringing in the players that they did, early this season, they had a couple. The 2 goal scorers weren't on the team last time around.
What are you highlighting right there, Melo? What are you trying to say?
Just in terms of numbers of goals.
For those of you listening, Melo just pulled
Luis Diaz. We didn't even mention him.
Melo just pulled up Columbus goal
stats,
scorers.
and I mean we can't score. We can't score a goal to save our life. Against Columbus, come on.
Bro, we're going to see Gallagher back. We're going to see Stroud back.
We're going to field a whole different team.
Romagna is not going to play. It's going to be Cascante, Beasler.
If he's back.
Zanni's going to play left back. Nick Lima's injured. He's out. Ring might play. Fago's going to play. Toto says.
But they're coming back from injury, man.
I know that they're coming back from injury, but
it's not
don't
be
give
like
the Minnesota game too much of a context as far as coming into the Columbus game.
What I saw in Minnesota, bro, was just like they just
put
a team together and they just put them on the field.
It was horrible to watch.
Hoping for the best. Because one thing I asked was like, what was the plan? Was there any plan? Like, I feel like we didn't have a plan. Like, who was supposed to be the guy to score?
The plan was that Nick Lima and Alex Ring were supposed to be on the field. Dude. You know, like he said, Josh Wolf said last night that the team was kind of shook by halftime because, you know, 10 minutes before kickoff, they found out that Ring can't go. Sebastian Berhalter gets put into that situation, and then, you know, less than 10 minutes in, Nick Lima's laying on the floor in front of his bench with his, you know, head in the grass. And these guys, you know, Aiden Stanley's playing his first ever game. He's watching like the two leaders of the team that were supposed to be out on the field, you know, go off. Like, how's that do? What does that do to you mentally? I thought that they came out in the second half and they tried, but like, honestly, like, I think he made the right call to take Cecilia off at halftime, save him for Sunday, because like, even if, you know, I just don't think they were going to go do anything with that game. I don't know.
I think Michael.
It was a rough spot to be in, I think, for everybody involved. Like, Josh Wolf had it kind of prepared what he was going to say. You can tell he'd been like kind of stewing on it.
It's a rough part of the season.
Shambles of the game.
Mike LaHood called it in the broadcast. He said Cecilio and Poch were kind of like, Poch was getting real frustrated, and he was just throwing like little temper tantrums, especially with Redes. But I mean, I can't blame him.
Well, I think that's what's frustrating, and this is what I say about like, you need better players around a guy like that, because he's used to playing in Argentina. Yeah. And like, and I think I got to be careful how I say this, but the style of play is one thing when you come from South America to MLS, because it's a lot more physical, but like, guys aren't as technical. And like, some of the balls that come in, like, if you play that ball in South America, man, like, you're like, you're going to get talking to, like, you know, like, and that's, I think, what's happening a lot with Pochettino is I think he's trying to do too much himself, because he's tired of, it's like the Cristiano Ronaldo syndrome. He's like playing for Portugal, and this guy's like not playing how his Real Madrid teammates do, and he's like, what the hell are you doing? And it's like, and he's,
but the thing with Toto, though, like,
he plays for Porto, he doesn't play for Real Madrid. Like,
we've called this in the podcast before. In my opinion, Toto has been extremely disappointing, because a lot of his balls are,
I put it this way in my column the other, like last week or whatever, like, he's playing just well enough to like stay on the field. Like, he's putting in a shift, like he's playing defensively, I think, okay. But he's losing some like, he's getting pickpocketed, I think, more than there was a chance against San Jose that almost led to a goal that like Brad Stuver saved Pochettino's ass, I think, on Saturday night. But you know, he's
that was a good save.
You're just waiting on one of those free kicks, or like, he has some nice flicks and stuff like that. You can tell he's skillful. Like, it was funny last night. We were at the bar afterward at Blackheart, and some of the fans, somebody came in. Oh, my buddy that I was with from Minnesota, they went to the game, and you know, he's never been to a Minnesota United game, but I asked them who they thought the best players on Austin were, just like, you know, somebody who's seen this team for the first time. And you know who they said? They said number 10 and number 7 are the best two players on Austin FC. And I thought that was really interesting, because I was standing with the Austin FC fans, and they were like, what? But like, I think for somebody that's seen the team for the first time, you can see how skillful the Pochettino is, you know? You just need some confidence.
Hey, bro, I got some fan questions here for Chris Bils. But before that I get into them, do you guys have any questions for Chris Bils as we approach the end?
I just got to say one thing. You know, I know I'm being a little harsh with me and Chris. We might be a little harsh with the 3-0, but I think he got it spot on. I think that the players need to prove it to us. You know, shut us up. You know, prove it to us. Sunday night, go all out and prove that we can go out there and beat the champions, because let's get it right. Columbus are champions.
It's a final.
They are champions. So let's go out there and just prove to us, prove to the fans, because the fans, I'm telling you right now, we're going to be screaming the whole 90 minutes. De los Verdes, La Murga, they're going to be screaming the whole 90 minutes, bro. So prove it to us. Shut me up, please.
Bro, we got a lot of fan questions, but I'm going to just filter through the best ones. All right? The first one, you ready? And these are directly for you, because I said, hey, if you got any questions for Chris Bils, send them in, right? So the one that I wanted to ask you first, it says, do you think Wolf should be worried about a replacement?
A replacement coach?
Yeah. Like, do you think he should be worried about
somebody said that to
me.
me last night. Who tweeted that at me? Somebody tweeted, like, you know, does Josh Wolf need to be worried about his job security? And I think I quote tweeted, and I said, talk to me in 2023. It's like what I was saying to Sergi. You know, like, this is MLS, man. Like, you're not going to get fired your first year as a head coach when the boss brought you in to, like, get your feet wet. Like,
build your resume.
We're not at that point yet. And like I said, I think Josh Wolf has good ideas. I think he just doesn't have the pieces right now. And I think he's frustrated because of the injuries, because I think the plan was always to bring in some people in the summer. They're shorthanded.
Yeah. And this next one is from Oak Army. Shout out to my boy Jans.
Hey, shout out
and
Oak Army,
Jose.
man.
Shout out to them out there in Oak Army.
I see you.
This one it says, any status on our third DP? Any rumors? We need a striker.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Wolf said it last night. They need a striker, and they've been looking, and they're zeroing in. So I think that's a good sign. I think that one thing that's been interesting about following transfers with Austin FC is that they're so buttoned up. Like they're not going to leak it from their side, and so you're really relying on if you guys want to go stake out some South American newspapers and let me know what you find. Like I should probably be doing more of that than I am right now. But I don't have too many names for you. I know Ake Loba was linked, but it looks like he's going to Nashville.
Yeah, they scooped him up.
So we'll see what happens with that. I mean, it's possible that.
What if he goes off?
It's possible there's a bidding war going on.
What if he absolutely tears up the league? Dude, that'd be so bad. Dude. He scores 20 goals by the end of the season whenever he actually plays. Oh my God.
Kai Kamara's still a free agent.
There you go.
But he's hanging out and he's kicking it in Sierra Leone. So he just sent Sierra Leone to the Asian.
Didn't
Asian
Michael
Cup.
Tweet that? I saw Michael.
The African Nations Cup.
Yeah.
Cup of Nations.
Was it the African Nations League Cup or something like that?
Yeah, the Africa Cup of Nations. So like the first time in their history they've made it to the actual tournament.
A lot of that stuff has been happening recent.
The African Nations Champions League.
Like countries that haven't been to a major tournament are now going for it's been happening for a long time. Yeah. But another question. This is from this funny name, Tommy the Commie. That's funny.
What?
Tommy the Commie from Instagram.
My comrade.
He's a comrade. He's a comrade. He says, what holes to fill to help with maintaining possession and sloppy passes in the midfield?
Well, like I said, I think they need another midfielder. And I think, as good as Danny Pereira has done, it seems like they're grooming him to be sort of the backup for Alex Ring. They actually want him to play the sixth. And so I think they're looking to have somebody next to Pochettino in front of those two, and I think that's what's going to make this team click. When Claudio Reyna was talking about midfield forward, it actually seemed like they were more focused on, and I don't think this is the case anymore because I think they fully see that they need a striker now, but I think they're almost more focused on getting a number 10, and I think that's what's going to unlock the potential for this team if they can actually get that across the line.
Now we move to Twitter. It's from Matthias Jensen. He said, it's no secret we struggle on offense. Say you have to assign percentages of blame. How does Chris Bils split it up between 1, injuries, 2, quality of players, and 3, tactics?
I saw this on Twitter. There's a lot of different directions you can go with this one, yeah. Because I think that, surface level, I think it's, what is it? It's injuries.
Tactics and
quality players. I think it's at least 40% quality right now. I gotta think about it. I'm gonna go. God, I'm gonna go 50% quality, 30% injuries, and 20% tactics.
So Wolf's your guy.
Yeah,
I think that the tactics are good. They don't have the players to pull it off right now, and that's the biggest problem they have.
Yeah, I remember some video on YouTube when we were in middle school or whatever that had that song, 20% skill, 50%
that was in every soccer highlight video.
Did you remember the name?
That was my MySpace.
But the catch-22 that I got into when I was thinking about this though is are you talking about quality with including the injuries and how I feel like those two are tied together too much to really.
For me, it's I've echoed this. I say we want to play like Barcelona, but we don't have Barcelona players. You know, I like Josh Wolf, but I think he needs to maybe tweak a little bit.
Well, he has tweaked. They tweaked in Kansas City. They tweaked in Seattle.
And plus, I
want to see a 4-4-2.
He's played 4-4-2 the last 3 games. They played 4-4-2 the second half last night. It just didn't.
They had
Aiden Stanley playing in double pivot with who was still on the field at that point.
Who was up front with Cecilio Manny, right?
Manny Perez,
which
was kind of strange.
Bro, man.
But then they moved him,
I was out here vouching for Manny. I did say off the bench, though. I never said anything about Manny Perez being good starting. I never said anything about that. Manny Perez off the bench.
He has heart.
All right, next question. Two more, right? This is the one of 2. Michael Heyman, he says, keep keeping to identity is really important, but has there been any thought to changing style of play to generate better possession and better goal scoring chances? There have been some mistakes trying to play so much out the back.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you've seen that, like I said, in Kansas City and Seattle, and they played a little bit more 4-4-2. Put Diego back to sort of help Alex Ring out a little bit, and had Cecilio and Pochettino sort of dropping in, and then the wings were almost moving up to the forwards, and so they're trying some different things. I think it's more personnel than it is anything else right now.
All right, last one, bro. It's from a Twitter account named Erling Braut. They use a Holland picture as an Abby. It's crazy.
Oh, that
Twitter.
guy, yeah.
This is crazy.
I know
Twitter,
that
bro.
guy. I know that guy.
Wild. He's wild on Twitter, bro. He says, this is the last question. He says, in your opinion, how bad is it affecting the team chemistry, the fact that some of our players do not speak English? Is there a language barrier?
I don't think that's a huge issue. I don't know what you guys think about that, because you probably experienced a bit of that, but you maybe know a little bit better than I do, but
it's not hard to say.
It's more gestures. Yeah, exactly.
Right
here. I mean, those guys all
just grunts
they know
and
the
gestures.
commands. They're pros.
Yeah.
Like that one
body language.
Like that
Body
one.
language, exactly,
Like that one Vine of Piqué, Victor Valdez, and who's the other guy? Afellay.
Oh, Ibrahim.
Yeah,
Afellay.
it is like
You the ball to me.
you the ball to me, the ball to me, the ball to me.
Hey, güey, dile que cuando está aquí que me pase el balón aquí.
Hey,
He's ball to him.
That shit, and then he's like, no, hombre, es que como me traigo un inglés.
Es que ha ido comido al McDonald's.
And then here comes Piqué. He's like, hey, Valdez, Shakira tiene una prima que te la quiero presentar. Bro, go content, bro.
Amazing, yeah.
Hey, bro, y'all got anything left for Chris, bro?
Get me off the hot seat here. No, I'm just kidding.
Anything else for Chris before we close the pod?
Man, I appreciate you coming out.
I'll ask you something, Chris.
Sure.
Do you see Austin FC in the playoffs at the end of the season?
At this point, I don't think so. I mean, I just we talked about it. I don't remember if this was on or off air, but I think this next stretch of 4 games is it's brutal, because they don't have. I think they want to get somebody in the next few weeks, or maybe by August. But look at the schedule. I mean, they got to play Portland at home, LAFC at home, Seattle at home, and that's after Columbus on Sunday. So I think it's just going to be. They have to squeeze some points out of that to even have a chance, because if you're looking at 9 points through 13 games at that point, you've got 21 games left to get 45 points. Good luck, Yeah.
Agreed.
All right, boys.
Man.
Closing it up. Shout out to that boy Chris Bils, though.
Shout out Chris Bils.
Shout out
Chris Bils.
Chris Billies.
It was appreciate him coming through.
Crew fan.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Crew fan.
Allegedly. Not really. Not really. I think
he represents Austin.
You're right. He does represent Austin.
Yeah.
All right. This has been the Top Flight Podcast. Thank you for checking us out. Make sure to like and subscribe. Shout out to all of our fans, everybody, all my nephews, Wheelie, Julian, everybody. Thank you for checking us out. We'll be back next week. And let's get it, boys.
Screw the crew.
Thank you. It's a wrap. It's a wrap, brothers.